Ladies and gentlemen, could you please give a warm welcome to your host for this evening, journalist, reporter and author, Kate Russell.
Thank you. Hello, I tripped up on the reserve sign. Oops. Good evening, everybody, and a very warm welcome to the IET Awards celebrating the success of young women in engineering. Now, you don't need me to tell you how desperately we need more female engineers in the UK. The latest figures show that we have the lowest number of practicing women engineers in Europe, and we've made no progress in increasing the number of young women studying engineering and physics since 2012. Shocking statistics. Now, I've done a lot of work throughout my life trying to research and find out how we can get more young women interested in careers in STEM. And one of the things that I've seen again and again and again is that awesome, inspirational role models are a really vital part of the mix. So, as well as honouring the work of all you fantastic engineers in the audience here tonight, it is about shouting loud and proud about your achievements to show the world what an incredible contribution young women just like you can make. We do have a hashtag for this evening for that very purpose, which is IETYWE. So please get tweeting, get promoting on social media, use that hashtag, let's get it trending so the world knows how awesome you all are. Also, we have a filter set up on Snapchat, because we're down with the young kids. So for the duration of the ceremony, to promote our 9% campaign that we'll be talking about later this evening. So do look out for that when you're taking your photos. Secondly, we don't have any fire practices this evening, so if you hear an alarm, run! No, don't. Please follow the instructions from the venue staff who will ensure your safe evacuation from the building. Right, thank you. And without further ado, I will now hand you over to the President of the IET, Jeremy Watson.
Thank you very much. Well, thank you very much indeed, Kate, and good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I have to say, slightly off script here, that sort of time tunnel video, I thought, is that how hard it is to become a female engineer? But I'm sure I'm sure that isn't represented. So I'm delighted to be here at Savoy Place, hosting the 39th Young Women Engineer of the Year Awards to celebrate the achievements of female engineers. This annual event is a fantastic way of showcasing and celebrating the achievements of some of the UK's best young female engineering talent. I'm looking forward to an inspiring and entertaining evening. I should also mention that next year is the 40th anniversary of YWE, which we'll hear more about later. Promoting women and engineering is close to our hearts here at the IET. If you've used the stairs here this evening, you might have seen our celebration of engineers past and present, including Ada Lovelace, Caroline Hazlitt, Hedy Lamar, Heather Ayrton, as well as our 2015 Young Woman Engineer of the Year, Orla Murphy, who's here this evening. And tonight we'll find out who will join these fantastic female engineering role models in our exhibition. Our IET Women's Network also continues to go from strength to strength, providing an invaluable networking tool for female engineers, as well as a forum to share new ideas. It's our most popular network with over 1,500 members, which shows just how active and full of ideas our female members are. Our immediate past president, Naomi Clymer, who's also here tonight, I'm glad to say, was the first female president of this institution in its 145-year history, and she spent her presidential year championing the urgent need we've heard about and we'll talk about this evening to attract more girls and women into engineering. Now, as part of my presidential mission, I'm keen to take over that mantle and continue to stress very strongly the importance of attracting more girls and women to our profession, both to help tackle the skills shortage, but also to bring the many advantages we might expect to gain from a more gender-balanced workforce. And our hashtag 9% Not Is Enough campaign, and more about this later, has really captured the imagination of social media, and we must all continue to work towards the goal that sees women accounting for far more than only 9% of engineers in the UK. Fortunately, securing more role models like the ones we have gathered here today is an important step towards doing this, so we're playing our part in this and we need to do more of it. But ultimately, we must get more young girls excited about the possibilities of an engineering career. And I'm sure some of the things we'll hear about this evening will inspire us to do that. We've got some slides. Thank you. And talking of inspiring, I'd like to finish with a short trailer from a new 20th Century Fox film called Hidden Figures, which tells the true story of 3 truly inspirational women who worked for NASA in the 1960s and helped blaze a trail for mathematicians and engineers of all races and genders to follow. Largely unheard of and unrecognized for their huge contribution to America's space program during the 60s, it's fantastic that their stories are now being told and that this taster will help set the inspirational tone of celebration of female talent in front of us. Thank you.
Russians have a spy satellite taking pictures of God knows what. Get us up there, Harrison. We can't justify a space program that doesn't put anything in space.
We all gonna end up unemployed riding around in this pile of junk.
You're welcome to walk the 16 miles. Or I'll sit in the back of the bus.
We're putting a human into space.
We bring him in too soon.
He burns up on re-entry.
I need math that doesn't yet exist. Find a mathematician before the Russians plant a flag on the damn moon.
You have identification on it?
NASA, sir.
I had no idea they hired.
Quite a few women working in the space program.
Space test group needs a computer.
Catherine's the gal for that. She can handle any numbers you put in front of her.
They never had a colored in here, but don't embarrass me.
This wasn't emptied last night.
I'm sorry, I'm not the...
You should be an engineer.
I'm a Negro woman. I'm not gonna entertain the impossible.
I'm standing beneath a spaceship. We are living the impossible.
Come on! The IBM data processing system. We have to know how to program it.
Ooh, like that.
Atta girl. And that's John Glenn.
What do you ladies do for NASA?
Calculate your trajectories.
You can't get anywhere without the numbers.
How could you be ogling these white men? It's equal rights. I have the right to see fine in every color.
NASA doesn't commission females for the engineer program.
Every time we have a chance to get ahead, I would like to attend today's briefing.
There is no protocol for women attending.
They moved the finish line.
You all should be thankful you have jobs at all.
I don't even know if I can keep up in that room. You're better with the numbers than anyone in there, Captain.
You've been gone for 300 hours.
Felt like it to me, too.
You're never where I need you to be. Where the hell do you go every day?
The colored bathroom is a mile away.
We all get to the peak together, or we don't get there at all.
More than 50 million people are watching this launch.
John, the IBM's wrong.
Let's get the girls to check the numbers.
My gals are ready. We can do the work.
Colonel Glenn?
It's good to know NASA hasn't given up on good old-fashioned brain power.
Friendship 7 has experienced some sort of a malfunction.
There's a real fireball outside. It's getting a little hot in here.
We're in the fight of our lives, people.
Friendship 7, do you copy? Over.
How cool is that? I'm definitely going to go and have a look at that. It's really great. So I think that's really, really inspiring, and I was quite moved by it, actually. I found a lump in my throat. It's really great. So now I'd like to introduce to you Noel Sharkey, the Professor of AI and Robotics at Sheffield University, and head judge of Robot Wars and IET Fellow, to speak more about women in engineering. Noel, please come up. Thank you.
Oh, it's nice to see so many faces here. Well, I must say I'm really humbled and delighted to be here tonight. You probably noticed that I'm not a female engineer. I don't think so, anyway. But I have concerns in general about women in the workplace, having had 5 daughters myself, the eldest of whom is 50, and it's not always been very easy for them. But I've been deeply concerned about the increasing gender gap for many years. And I've been helping with this 9% is not enough campaign. But you know, it's really bad, particularly in computer science, where I've been teaching since the 1980s. And the number of women in the heyday then was 37%. And now it's less than 14%. and it's falling all the time. And it really puzzles me because we, as you heard earlier, we've had Ada Lovelace was the first person to write an algorithm. She wrote the very first algorithm. And we've had many, many great women throughout time in computer science, like Grace Hopper, who wrote the first compiler in the 1940s, and she was also a Rear Admiral in the US Navy. And then there was all the Bletchley Park women, but the first all-purpose computer, the ENIAC, well, it's debatable as to whether it was really the first, but it was round about the same first. That was programmed by 6 women mathematicians. So what's happening? We really need more women now, because machines are really starting to make a lot of decisions about our lives, or helping to make decisions about our lives. And you find out with things like that I've been looking at recently, certainly with emotional reading machines, with big data self-learning machines, with deep learning machines, that what you're getting is a lot of bias. You're getting gender bias in things like job applications. And so we need a different sort of eyes on this stuff to try and keep it back. And then, of course, we had this year the famous Twitter bot. You've all heard of the Twitter bot called Tay, I guess. That was a learning machine that went on the internet live on Twitter, and within 24 hours, it was a total racist misogynist who attacked feminists with very strong language and denied denied the Holocaust, and was a big fan of Hitler. So we get all this kind of thing happening now. And I think that having more women in this field would really help to hold that back. Now, as a scientist, though, I'm not sure what the real explanation for this is. I mean, I've seen a lot of speculation, and I can speculate myself, but I really do think it's time we had some sort of large-scale research project, and not just like a little survey. I'm talking about proper in-depth interviews right across the whole range with all of the stakeholders. It's really needed. So it's really important that we highlight women in engineering. One of the things that we need most is to see more female engineers on our screens. Now, I've been working in Robot Wars for some years, and in the old days, there was very, very few women. And now there's quite a few now, maybe 12 in the last series, but we want to encourage more. And it's been fantastic to see the impact of that program generally on young people. Lots of young kids come to me afterwards and talk to me about all sorts of sophisticated things about robots. And people come up to me all the time now, engineers, and tell me that's what inspired them into engineering. But it's very important that we get more girls into this, because we want to see more girls on the screen as builders, to inspire you all, really, and to make more women engineers. Now, one way to do this is in raising public awareness, has been to set up a new award, which we did here this year. So we set up the best Robot Wars female role model, and we launched that at the IET festival here in October, and that was supported by the IET Women's Network. It was supported by Mentor in Scotland, and supported by the Foundation for Responsible Robotics, of which I co-direct. Now, in the Foundation for Responsible Robotics, by the way, we really push on the gender issue within artificial intelligence and robotics. And we started off with 28 of the top, we've got well over 100 members now in a short time, but we started off with 28 of the top tech scholars in the world, and we managed to have 16 of those 28 are women, very, very senior women doing really great work. And so that helps to inspire and get other girls and women into the field. So I'm just waiting for this person to move me on here. So as the winners of both these awards demonstrate, we had some really good people. And this is the winner here, Dominique Anderson, who's actually a STEM ambassador herself. But I was really pleased that we have little April Prince here. Now, little April Prince is a really inspirational little girl. She appeared on Newsround. On a Newsround, she was asked, well, why do you keep saying you want more girls on Robot Wars? And she said, because they bring sparkle to the program and they make old men cry. And I thought that was really good. So she's out there giving talks. She's only 10 years old. She was talking recently at Somerset House. She gave a little lecture about it. I mean, that's the sort of person we really want to get. So as women of the awards tonight, though, both awards demonstrate there's an amazing female engineering and robotics talent out there. And we have to find a way really to make sure and find a way to nurture it. We've really got to close the gender gap. What have we got to do?
Close the gender gap.
You sound like my granny, really. Could we have that a bit louder and clear? What have we got to do?
Close the gender gap.
Thank you very much for listening. I'll stop there. I'll hand you back to Kate.
Thank you, Noel. Wonderful. Thank you so much, Noel. Couldn't agree more with both yourself and Jeremy's comments. Right, next up, someone incredibly inspirational. Please let me introduce you to Rover Agrawal. Now, Roma is a structural engineer who spent 6 years working on the Shard, is described as the new voice of women talking about science and engineering and making it cool by The Telegraph. She is a multiple award winner. She's appeared as an expert in documentaries, in UK broadsheets and magazines, on the BBC, the ITV. She's probably done more TV than I have. Roma has given a TEDx talk about engineering and was selected as a leading lady in the 2014 M&S campaign. Outside work, as if she has any time left, she actively promotes engineering, scientific and technical careers to young people and particularly to underrepresented groups such as women. She's writing a book currently, would you believe, called Building Stories. It's due out in 2018, printed by Bloomsbury. How on earth does she find all the time? To showcase the amazing people and challenges which have been solved through history to create our modern world. That's what the book is about. So, well, she's just done so much. I think probably the only way to fill you in a little bit more before we hear her speak is to play a little intro video for you.
Hi, I'm Iona, I'm 12, and today I'm here to find out a bit more about structural engineering from Rover Agrawal. You're a structural engineer. What does that actually mean? What do you do?
So my job is basically to make sure that structures stand up.
Okay.
So we're standing on this bridge, for example, and a structural engineer has done some maths and some physics to make sure that this bridge is safe so that when you walk over it, it doesn't kind of collapse and send you straight into the Thames.
So what made you want to become an engineer?
So I always liked maths and science at school, and one summer I actually had a work placement where I had this really boring job, but all the people sitting around me were engineers. And they were designing the equipment that the physicists use to detect particles like the Higgs boson, which was incredible. And I thought, right, this is what I want to do.
So why are we on this bridge in particular?
So this bridge is quite an interesting bridge. So it was built in the year 2000 and it's called the Millennium Bridge, but it also had a slightly funny nickname, which was the Wobbly Bridge. And the reason it got that nickname was because when it first opened and people started walking across it, it started to wobble from side to side a little bit. And what I've got to show you is a demonstration involving jelly babies to explain how the different ways are that bridges can actually vibrate. So this is the infamous Jelly Baby Bridge, and I can assure you that many jelly babies were harmed in the creation of this structure. So the reason some bridges wobble is because of an effect called resonance. So what can happen, for example, is if you are a big band of soldiers walking down a bridge, you're all stepping and marching in step, and what can happen is you start to resonate the bridge so that it starts swinging like this. Or you might, like on the Millennium Bridge, make it move side to side. And when that started happening, because the bridge was moving from side to side, people started stepping in exactly the same frequency as this bridge was moving. And then the third one is also when you get the wind blowing onto a bridge and you get it resonating in a different way, like this, kind of twisting up and down. And these effects are not very good for bridges because it basically makes them crack or move or makes you feel unsafe. So we have to, as engineers, make sure that these kind of things don't happen. So that's what I do. I'm a structural engineer, but there's so many other types of engineering that you could do as well. So you could design roads and cars, or trains, or tunnels, or even robots, or all kinds of things. But my favourite part really about being an engineer is the fact that when you actually finish a project, then there's a thing, this massive thing that you've built yourself, and you can say, I did that.
So thank you so much for telling me all this. I've definitely learned a lot about engineering and I will consider it in the future.
That's fantastic, Iona. You're very, very welcome.
Roma, everybody.
Thanks so very much. Wasn't Iona amazing? She was such a pleasure to work with, absolutely brilliant. And I'm hopefully convinced her not to become an actress and to become an engineer, which is what she actually wants to do. But thanks again for having me. I think we know we have to close the gender gap, absolutely have to do that. What I thought I'd talk to you briefly about today was some of the lessons that I've learned during my life, during my career, and my time in this amazing profession. So the first lesson I want to talk about was what I learned when I moved from India to the UK. So I spent most of my childhood in India, and it was fairly normal to like maths and physics there, you know, as normal as it can be. And then I moved to the UK to do my A-levels, and I got admission into a fantastic girls' school in North London, and moved to this brand new school, to a new country, you know, a completely different place, after having spent 10 years of my life doing, you know, in the same school, doing what I was very familiar with. And I was really scared as the new girl, scared that I was different. You know, I liked different kinds of food. I had a thick Indian accent, and, you know, I liked Boyzone, and the girls here loved Take That. It was, you know, kind of a problem. So anyway, so where I started off with, I studied maths, further maths, physics, and design and technology. And I started to make friends with the girls in my class. That was a great place to start. But then I realized that, you know, if I really want to make more friends and kind of cast my net a bit wider, I should try a few different things. So I joined Science Club, of course I did. I did a bit of dancing, I did Asian Society, and I tried to basically find other people that I shared some kind of connection with or some commonality with, and find a bit of my own comfort zone in a very different world. So when I think back now to what kind of got me through this huge transition in my life, I think it was my efforts to try and build relationships with people that were quite different than me. I think being open and honest about my situation, about my fears, about what I wanted to do, and, you know, what I was worried about, actually really led me to making friends. And I'm still in touch with so many of them kind of 17 years on, and even some of my teachers, which is really brilliant. So I think relationships and the emotional intelligence that is required to build relationships is a really key skill that we as engineers need, but actually is probably not talked about very much. And maybe, perhaps, women can be quite good at that, and maybe that's something that we can bring to this profession. So another transition was when I then went from school to study physics at Oxford. And of course, now this is a very male-dominated degree. So I remember sitting in one of my first lectures in this huge theater with 120 students, most of whom were obviously men. And the lecturer kind of pulled down this huge chalkboard and started writing differential equations across it. And I just thought to myself, I don't know why I'm here. I don't understand anything this guy is writing. You know, I shouldn't be here. Everyone is smarter than me. I can't possibly even pass my first year exams, forget getting through this degree. And probably this sounds familiar to a lot of you, because actually most of us feel that what we call imposter syndrome at some point during our careers or our lives. And it's something that I still am, you know, conscious about, that it does happen to me even now, 11 or 12 years into my career. But I started attending lectures. I got to know the 6 students in my particular college quite well. And we were a very diverse group of people. So there was me from India, a couple of years in the UK, The other girl on my course was from North Wales and spoke Welsh as a first language. Her dad was a window fitter. We had somebody from Birmingham who hadn't even told his friends that he had gotten into Oxford University for fear that they would beat him up. So, we were a very, very diverse group of people on this course. And despite all of these differences, and I love differences between people, the thing that really brought us together and tied us together was our passion for learning. So we all realized that we have this amazing opportunity. We're in this fabulous place in Oxford with cutting-edge scientists, and we really wanted to make the most of our time there. And so I learned a lesson there about the enthusiasm for learning. I was passionate about what I was studying, and I really wanted to absorb everything that I could. And it did make me conscious about, I was very conscious about the stuff I couldn't do, or that I thought I was weak at, but I also started to appreciate what I was actually quite good at, and the answer was maths in that particular case. So I come to the end of my degree, and then I'm stuck again. I don't know what I want to do. So most of the people that were on my course were either going off to do PhDs in research and physics, or they were going into investment banks. And neither of these two options particularly appealed to me. I wanted to find something kind of in between the two. So I did that boring job that I spoke about with Iona, and was inspired by these engineers that were working around me. And I went to the head of the course of structural engineering at Imperial College and said, well, I've got a physics degree. Do you think you'd consider me on this course? And he said, well, yes. You've probably got very strong math skills, so yes, we would consider you. So I applied, I got in, and I joined the course. And again, this kind of feeling of imposter syndrome is kind of waving over my head, because I was the only student there without an undergraduate degree in engineering. And in fact, most people on my course also had experience of working as an engineer. And then there was me with a physics degree trying to pass this course. So I would say 2005, which is the year I did that master's, was probably one of the hardest years for me, because academically I was really, really struggling. Things were going 100 miles an hour, but I started to get a bit of help from my peers on my course and also from the professors. And I found that, again, I needed a lot of help with certain things, but I was actually able to help my peers with something which basically turned out to be complex mathematics again. Having just come off a physics degree, I still remembered how to do double differentiation, but these guys who'd been working in engineering hadn't done that as much. So again, I felt, there's a bit of a give and take relationship here, and that made me feel a little bit better. So of course, we know this. I don't have to tell all of you sitting here in the room today that bringing diverse people, different people with different skills, different backgrounds, different educations, different ways of thinking is incredibly important to creating successful teams. So for me, really, that year was learning about collaboration, about leaning on other people, about other people leaning on you in order to create really effective learning and being able to do stuff. So, we know that teamworking, it's really obvious that teamworking is incredibly important, again, in engineering. But again, I don't think anyone really taught me that at university during my course. So the next one I want to talk about is what it's actually like to be an engineer. So we know that we only have 9% engineers in this country that are women. And I remember the first few meetings that I went to as a 22-year-old girl on construction sites. And there would be me and 7 men, me and 18 men. I think 19 men and me is my record for just the disparity in the kind of situations that I've been exposed to. And I was also the youngest person. I didn't have experience. I didn't really know what I was talking about. So I probably didn't say a word in the first kind of 4 or 5 meetings that my boss took me to. But over time, I've gotten over that. I realized that preparing for meetings and going there and knowing what you're talking about made a huge difference. And now my days are so varied. So I might spend the morning coming in, doing emails, talking to my team, technicians, engineers. I might then go and meet my client, who's this incredibly rich person from Asia who's, investing money in a big project in the UK. I then might go to site and speak to laborers. And the stereotypes of builders can be a little bit just like the stereotypes are often, but they're generally quite excited and interested by me because they're like, ooh, what do you do? Why are you here on site? And then I do presentations. So I've talked to 5-year-olds about the Shard. I think the toughest audience is 13-year-old boys, probably, hardest audience. And I speak to audiences like yourselves as well. And I think what I've learned in here, of course, the communication piece is really important, but I think flexibility and agility is key, because if you talk to a property magnate and then talk to a builder and then talk to a 5-year-old on the same day, you really need to think about who you're bringing to that particular meeting or that presentation, and how best can you influence that person and get to a consensus and move your projects forward. So I think I learned a lesson during my career about being agile. So the last one I want to talk about is something that I'm still trying to get to grips with. So over the last 6 years, I would say, because of the work I did on the Shard, I've been getting a lot of requests to do presentations to schools, and I've mentioned some of the audiences that I've spoken to in the past. And what I found was that I did that. The media started getting interested and calling me up and asking me to write blogs and articles and appear in magazines and newspapers. And all of this happened really unexpectedly. It's nothing that I ever planned to do. I spent the first 6 years of my career working on my computer, going to site, doing my meetings. I never really thought about trying to influence people or going and speaking out about the issues that we're considering today. But once this started to happen, I realized that, well, I knew that I was a really opinionated person. I mean, let's face it. But I realized that I've actually got a voice here, and I can actually maybe do something about these opinions that I would just rant at home about. And one of my mentors said to me that what you should think about is what's your kind of really long-term, high-level vision for what you want to achieve in your life. And I said, well, I want to change the state of science and engineering in the UK. And you're probably thinking, well, that's kind of a really kind of up there vision or whatever. But actually, it really helps me, because what happens since then is that every decision that I make as to, do I do this? Do I move jobs? Do I do the M&S campaign or whatever it might be? I always ask myself that question, is this going to help me towards that particular kind of vision that I have? And if the answer is yes, then I'll do it. And it's got absolutely nothing to do with the fact that I get to meet celebrities when I go on an M&S shoot, for example. But I mean, it's been difficult as well. So it sounds kind of glamorous, but just on the M&S shoot again, we were shooting the summer dress collection in December at Camber Sands. So it was pretty cold. So it's not all quite as glamorous. And of course, I get choice comments at the bottom of the articles that I write. As soon as you talk about gender, that's it, you get trolled. I've had unsavory experiences on Twitter, and these things happen, and I still really struggle with that. But it is something that I'm trying to get my head around, because to me, the message is really important. But I think, again, my lesson there was that setting some sort of direction is really important. And I think if you can see what your end goal is up there somewhere, you can kind of take any path you need to, and that might kind of go off in all kinds of different directions. But if you have that kind of guiding star in a way, then you will keep your focus and make sure that you move towards that eventually. So just to quickly summarize then, I think some of the things that I've learned during my life and my career as an engineer, which I really, really love. I've learned about relationships and how important connections with people are in the world of engineering. I've learned about how a passion for learning is incredibly key to loving what you do and doing well in what you want to do. I've learned about working with people collaboratively, showing vulnerability and being honest and creating those relationships. How to be flexible and agile, how to bring different aspects of myself to different situations to get the best out of that particular situation. And also about how to set direction and to have some kind of aim and goal in my mind. So thank you very much again for having me tonight, and I wish all the finalists the very best of luck. So thank you very much.
Roma, thank you. Thank you so much. You're not going anywhere yet, though. Right, so as well as celebrating all of your great achievements here tonight, one of the things that the IET Young Women Engineer of the Year Award seeks to do is find great female role models who can help address the UK science and engineering skills crisis, just like Roma's been explaining, so we can get more engineering careers held by women and girls. Now, we've mentioned the number several times tonight. What percentage of the UK engineering workforce is female? Anyone know? Oh, I thought you weren't going to answer me then for a moment. Yes, 9%. It's the lowest percentage in Europe. And so, to help inspire the next generation of female engineers and to raise awareness of these awards, the IET has launched a social media campaign. And it is also to bring attention to that very stark figure of 9%. So what we're asking is for female engineers to share a photo of themselves, commonly known as a selfie, at work with 9% written on their hand. You can write it any way you want, on your forehead if you want, but we find on your hand is a bit more, sort of like dignified. So the hashtag is, we've got some people showing it there, the hashtag to add to your picture is hashtag 9% is not enough. And that's the written percent rather than, I'm sure if you write it anyway, it'll come up. But yeah, 9% is not enough as a hashtag. Write 9%. Now, many people have already taken the campaign to heart, and it's been hugely successful, with hundreds of engineers and non-engineers taking part, including prominent UK politicians. So, to help promote this even more, we're going to do a selfie. You up for it? In your packs, everyone has got a sticker given to them as they came in. It says 9%. Stick it anywhere you like, somewhere that'll be visible preferably. On your palm of your hand is probably the best place for it. And what we're going to do is we're going to get everyone together. Just stay where you are. And myself and Roma are going to grab, here's one we prepared earlier. Thank you very much. My beautiful selfie assistant. So we're going to have to go over here so we get the most of it. I'm afraid you lot here, if you want to be in it, you're going to have to move that side. Because I haven't got a wide angle lens. Right, come on, Roma. Right, we need everybody to hold up your 9% stickers. We're going to take a few. Let's have a bit of shouting as well. Say 9%! 9%! And one with both hands in the air as if you're riding a roller coaster. 9%! Woo! Oh, no. We're being gazumped with a normal photo on the selfie photo. I'm not sure I think that's against the selfie laws, isn't it? Stop it now. Oh, yeah. Take one of you and me there. That was the man taking the selfie photos. Right, thank you so much, everybody. Give yourselves a huge round of applause. And Roma, thank you so much indeed to you. Brilliant. Oh, well, that didn't go wrong, which is great. Now, I mean, we all know Hedy Lamarr, right? Inventor of the frequency hopping system. Backbone of the Wi-Fi network. So we're using her tech. Just then, if any of you were tweeting and on Wi-Fi, using Hedy Lamarr's invention. 75 years on. Some of her earliest inventions included an improved stoplight for traffic, so when you're sitting at the traffic jam later on, you can go, not such a good idea. And a tablet that would dissolve in water and create a carbonated drink, so when you're drinking your Alka-Seltzers tomorrow morning thinking, why did I have that last glass of Prosecco? You can also thank Hedy Lamarr for that. But what we're doing really with this campaign is enabling more women to meet their full potential. And we could add as much as $28 trillion of annual GDP to the global economic force, literally by just helping women engineers reach their potential by 2025. Incidentally, the term selfie 2013 Word of the Year by the Oxford Dictionary, first used by an Australian describing a photograph while taken drunk at a 21st birthday party. But if you are in Australia, you have to go to Sydney, where the 1888 Hotel will give you a free night if you've got more than 10,000 Instagram followers. And they've got a special space in the lobby set aside that actually has the hashtag, if you take a picture with the hashtag 1888hotel, it'll appear on their monitors apparently. So I want you all to take your 9% photographs and just tag them, hashtag 1888hotel, and we'll be all over Sydney Hotel. And they'll be going, who on earth are those people? But yeah, an average person will take 25,000 selfies of themselves during their lifetime. Make one count, make it the 9% selfie. Okay, we are rapidly approaching finding out who our winners are this evening. But first, I would like to invite a very special guest, Orla Murphy, to the stage. She is the current holder, the Young Woman Engineer of the Year Award, to talk to us about her year as a winner. Please give a huge warm welcome to Orla.
Thanks very much. Thanks very much. So as mentioned, I'm the current Young Woman Engineer of the Year for just about the next maybe 10 minutes, and then I can retire. So who am I, and where did I come from? I studied at Glasgow University in M.Eng in Electronics with Music, and right now I'm an audio engineer at Jaguar Land Rover, and I've worked there since 2012. I'm a STEM ambassador, I'm a public speaker, and I was also a curator for TEDx Leamington Spa, which was bringing a conference in technology, entertainment and design to my local community in Leamington Spa. I'm really passionate about engineering, equality and diversity, and it was for all of these reasons that my senior manager nominated me for this IET award last year. So it was just about a year ago that I was sitting nervously in the front row like our finalists are today, and I was surrounded by 4 other inspiring engineers from a variety of engineering backgrounds and places. And I think the finalists form a really brilliant platform and network that can showcase the capability, talent and drive in the UK, in engineering in the UK today. And I was really humbled and honoured to win, and it was the start of a really great journey over the last year. So just for a short time, I want to show you some examples of what I've been up to give you a snapshot of what is involved and what lies ahead for this year's finalists. So as the IET Young Woman Engineer of the Year, you have to be able to talk and to communicate. I was really taken aback to begin with the amount of interest from the media, especially in the month or two immediately after the awards. Research has shown us that young girls are unlikely to enter a career unless they've seen people in a role that they can associate with. So this is the foundation of things like the People Like Me campaign, which aims to bring female STEM role models to young people around the world. And with this in mind, I've been really involved in the media to help to reach out to a wider audience and to give the message that STEM is a really great career and it's not a career only for men. So I wrote articles or was interviewed by newspapers such as The Guardian, The Telegraph, The Mirror, The Daily Mail, and even the Irish Farmers Journal wanted to learn more about how I got into engineering. Newspapers, magazines and websites were all keen to learn about my career, what I thought about the statistics of women in engineering, and what I thought could be done to encourage more people into the sector. The advantage of talking about these topics in the media is that you reach out to a huge amount of people. You might even reach out to some people who've never considered engineering before, and it might help people think twice about their own perceptions of engineering as a whole. Similar to print media, I was also active on social media. The IET, Jaguar Land Rover, and other organisations that I worked with throughout the year often shared pictures or of events or links to articles through Facebook and Twitter. So for example, when I talked at my local primary school, they then talked about it on Twitter and this was shared, and the IET often shared links to any kind of news stories that I featured in. And on the subject of the 9% is not enough campaign, that's a picture of myself and Faye Banks with our 9% is not enough stickers, and she's a previous winner of this IET award. I also got to meet Her Royal Highness Princess Anne and at the IET opening a few weeks ago, and Jaguar Land Rover got to tweet about that. So basically what I'm trying to say is, as the Young Woman Engineer of the Year, you're very much in the public eye for a whole year. With more and more young people really glued to their phones and social media, utilising this kind of media stream is particularly important to communicating to that next generation. As part of my role as an ambassador, I was invited to volunteer, talk, to judge, or to give prizes at lots of science competitions and festivals all over the UK. This was brilliant fun, to be involved in high energy activities with some of the brightest young people from all over the UK who are already really excited about STEM. So this included the Talent 2030 Awards, the Big Bang Fair, the IET Lego League UK and Ireland Finals, and also the Malvern Festival of Innovation. It was brilliant to meet and talk to young people who are already so excited about STEM, and then also to try to encourage them to keep that up when they're making their A-level and university decisions. I really loved visiting schools and universities throughout the whole year. The most memorable was definitely a visit to my old primary school in Ireland, Ballinora National School. I talked to the 3 oldest years about my kind of journey into engineering. I was meant to talk for 1 hour, but the bell went for a break and nobody moved because they had so many questions. And I think I was in there for over 2 hours in total until the teachers were getting a little worried and they said we really had to stop. The school had never had a visit from an automotive engineer before, and I actually showed them some behind-the-scenes testing that we do at Jaguar Land Rover, and they just really, really loved it. The picture on the right is from a Girls in STEM Open Day at the University of Birmingham. Many women who study engineering degrees don't always go on to work in engineering companies because they perceive the environment as being too male-dominated. So it was really interesting talking to some of the older female students and hearing their concerns, questions, and perspectives. So it's not always just about young people, often it's about people a bit older too. In this role, I really had to push myself and develop my communication skills over the year. It was often a little scary and pushed me out of my comfort zone. For example, I was the keynote speaker at the Engineering Education Scheme celebration and at the Malvern Festival of Innovation. I also did an internal talk at Jaguar Land Rover, and this was probably one of the most nerve-wracking, as it was to my own peers and management in my own company. So throwing yourself out of your comfort zone is important, and I feel I really developed those kind of skills over the last year. And I even got to meet some really inspirational people, such as Her Royal Highness Princess Anne and the physicist Brian Cox. It wasn't all work, however. It was important to me to have a balanced life and to keep up my hobbies and interests outside of the role as the IET Young Woman Engineer of the Year. I still played in the Birmingham Philharmonic Orchestra every Sunday. I also ran in the London Marathon in April, raising £2,000 for the Born Free Foundation, which is a wildlife charity. And I became an auntie for the first time when my sister Deirdre had a baby boy called Dara. So my advice for the finalists is to take the opportunities and to really make the most of your opportunities, but also to try and keep a balance with your social life and be careful not to burn out. Before I finish, I want to give some parting advice. This isn't just for the 5 finalists, even though it would probably be most relevant to them. It's also relevant to anyone in the room who cares about the future of science, technology, engineering, and maths. If you want to encourage more women into engineering and to help to change these outdated perceptions of what an engineer is, then this is my advice. First and foremost, be an ambassador for the engineering profession. People think that engineering is boring and that all engineers are old, pale, male, and stale. But in this way, many young people don't really know how diverse an engineer can be. So they're looking to you to be a new example. They're looking for a fresh perspective, they're looking for encouragement, and they're looking for inspiration and advice. So being a really positive and enthusiastic role model can really make a massive difference in changing people's perceptions. My next bit of advice is to make it fun and to keep it tangible. So when you're talking about engineering, you can show real-life examples of hardware or products that you've worked on. Having a real case study for your career can make it much easier to understand. My next piece of advice for everyone is to get involved, rise to the challenge that has been set to us today to raise that 9% figure and to reach out to as many people as possible. And finally, for the finalists, it's going to be a really busy year for all of you. Maximise the opportunities that come your way. Your calendar will probably be full of requests, but it's still really important to get involved. And the opportunity to discuss engineering and the challenges that often face all minorities within engineering is really important. As a finalist, you'll be given brilliant opportunities over the next year. So I would say take as many opportunities as you can, even if they scare you. So just before I finish, I want to say a massive thank you to the IET for their support over the last year and for giving me so many wonderful opportunities to talk about women in engineering. I particularly want to thank Jo Foster, who was my main contact at the IET, and she helped me organising many of the talks and events I did throughout the year. And I would also like to thank my employers, Jaguar and Rover, who allowed me to take time out of the office and supported the message that I really wanted to spread over the year, that diversity in engineering is a positive thing, that engineering is not a career only for men, that engineering is dynamic and fun, and that engineers solve problems to make the world a better place. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Brilliant. Absolutely amazing. Are you and Roma kind of like secretly developing some kind of time machine that allows you to slip back and do all of these things? Wonderful, absolutely amazing. Great insight to your year and great advice for whoever wins this year. Well, before the award winners are announced, because we're getting to that time, I would like to say thank you to the online reviewers and the judging panel who had a very difficult time choosing the winner, as all the shortlisted candidates were all competent, engaging, and would all make excellent role models. All shortlisted candidates were exceptional, and they will be presented with a certificate at the end of the night. Now, the reason that you are all here tonight, it is time to introduce the 5 finalists who made it through the interviews to become this YWE 2016 finalists. Let's play the film.
Grew up in Ipswich, that's quite nice, surrounded by friends and family. Quite enjoyed school. In particular, my maths class was always one that I really loved.
After university, I felt I wasn't ready to leave Reading, so I decided to go into employment, and I started at McDonald's, and that's where I actually discovered apprenticeships. It was then I realised I wanted to do something in technology, and soon stumbled upon Cisco. After 9 months of touring and froing, going to interviews and open days, I was finally welcomed on board as part of the apprenticeship team, and haven't looked back since.
I came into the company having no technical knowledge at all, but it sort of snowballed along the way, and I'm now in an extremely technical role. And I'm currently working in the Solutions Validation Services team as a network test engineer. So some of my key responsibilities are working with the customer to work out how their network is set up currently, the change they'd like to make, and then how best we can emulate that, which is actually my favourite part because it's a bit like a jigsaw puzzle. You got all these features and technologies that they have in their network, and you've got to try and fit them together. I really like that I'm someone that people come to for help. Without that support, I wouldn't be where I am now, and being able to give back that support to others coming into the company, that's a really great feeling to be able to do that. I consider my heroes to be the people I surround myself with each day, at work and outside of work. So there's Scott, who never fails to lighten the mood. There's Dave, who is just a genius with everything. There's Ellie, who's just such an enthusiastic and supportive manager. My way of giving back to my friends and family is cooking for them, and I really love to do this.
Lovely. Starving.
Looks great. To Gemma then. Go. Cheers.
When I was growing up, I was very quiet, to be honest. Kind of through high school, got more confident, started like participating in more things. And I got talking with like my physics teacher, and he was the one who got me into physics. I'm a software degree apprentice for Thales UK. We work on sonar processing for the submarines. It's my responsibility to go down to the rigs we have on site where we have mock-ups of the kit. These are top secret, so if I did tell you, I might have to kill you.
Security is obviously something very important for our customers. As part of the software team, Nadia has to take into consideration security aspects, and also more importantly, the customer requirements.
What are you doing at work at the moment, Nadia?
I would tell you, but can't, can I? Being quite an inquisitive character, my dad, he's always asking me kind of the things I work on. I literally cannot say, I've got to keep my lips sealed. When I started, the first project I got put onto was implementing an automated test system. It took quite a bit of time convincing them to actually use it, but it does improve testing by a couple of days, 3-4 days sometimes.
We had an idea of what we expected from an apprentice, and I think Nadia has met all that criteria and surpassed most of them as well.
Our customers are actually going to be people joining the armed forces at the age of the apprentices that we're taking on. We need people of that generation and that age with that same background, with those same skills, being able to see things from a customer's perspective.
One of my heroes who's inspired me since I was younger is a physicist called Michio Kaku. His way of explaining complex ideas and making them more accessible to everybody is something that I aim to be like. It's all about giving apprentices a voice, making sure they're heard within the company. That's why I got involved with the Apprentice Committee, and this is something I now chair. Not only do I want to continue inspiring the next generation, I want to make a difference in the workplace.
When I was little, I'd always thought that I was just going to go to university. My sister had done it and I thought that was what I was going to do. My mum's friend knew a lot more about Rolls-Royce than I did, and she'd seen an article in the newspaper and just handed it to me. So that's probably where I would have wanted to end up, having done 4 years at university anyway. So a fast track to where I wanted to be. My job title is Manufacturing Systems Lead for Compressor Components, but that doesn't always tell you exactly what we do. My main focus really at the moment is to make sure that we're driving the business with data. I'm responsible for shop floor systems across both factories and making sure that the factories are modernised to how they should be, in line with corporate standards, and that we can automate data and machine integration wherever possible. This is where it all started actually, when I first moved down from Manchester. I moved down on my own and I found somewhere to live, and I started my apprenticeship here. And this was where I first started all my training courses. It hadn't really occurred to me that I was actually picking up my life completely and moving it down here. But as soon as I moved down here, I met loads of other people in the same position that I was. I made loads of great friends that I'm still friends with now. I've recently taken up American football, and you just meet so many like-minded people that are, ready to crack on and get on with life.
Booging in the middle.
We need education for women, and I'm like,
Did you see the NFL?
We're going to have a cheers for laughing, everyone.
Let's do it.
Cheers.
My hero in everything is Beyonce. And it sounds like a joke at first, but when you look at how she approaches everything, I do think she's got a really good work ethic, and I just think that that's a really great way to approach every opportunity.
She's definitely destined for much greater things within the company, and she's already been identified as somebody that's got high potential. Pretty much from the outset, really kind of rose to the challenge, took on some really difficult jobs and made an excellent reputation for herself and the programme in the process.
I believe Bethan's got a lot of fabulous potential leadership qualities. She's got commitment, she's got drive, she's got focus. I think over the next sort of 5 to 10 years, she's definitely one to blossom.
When I go into a school and I talk about things and it's stuff that I do every day, it's very easy to start to take technology for granted when you see it all the time. I find it really good fun, and I think I probably get just as much out of it, if not more, than the kids do.
I was back in Canada, I did my undergraduate degree, and I heard about this research that was being done at the University of Cambridge. I wanted to be involved, so I came here, jumped on a plane, finished my PhD last year, and after that I got a position, so now, even though I never really thought that I would, I'm able to stay in Cambridge and keep researching and teaching. A lot of my time I do spend teaching and interacting with undergraduates. And I speak with them about things like how to present data and communicate in engineering, figuring out what we're going to study and how we're going to try and improve these combustion devices. And then I'll go into another lecture, so I'll speak mainly with graduate students, and we'll talk about how we meet our energy needs and different types of combustors generally. So when I first became involved with Rolls-Royce, I actually figured that I wanted to work for them. And now I feel fortunate that I'm in an academic role where I can still work with them. That freedom and that sort of duality of my job is what makes that partnership really, really beneficial.
Jenni's coming up with the novel experimental techniques which are actually allowing us to measure these things. The concepts are coming in from all over the place. You know, there's no shortage of weird and wonderful novel combustion concepts. Very few of them are actually going to make it, and that can only be assessed by the sorts of measurements that Jenni's doing. Jenni has a great future as an academic member of staff here. Her inspirational ideas don't just stop with research, they extend into her teaching. She does a lot of work, especially inspiring girls in school to take up engineering as a career. And I think with that sort of enthusiasm and with that sort of inspirational activity, she's going to do really well.
I think a big reason about why I enjoyed my time outside of work in Cambridge so much was because of the rugby team, because it's just such a close-knit group of people who are all working towards the same thing, and it requires a lot of trust, a lot of cooperation for everyone to work together.
I think her future is very bright. She has the fundamentals, she has the work ethic. We're lucky that we have her in a good research environment, and I believe she would do fantastic things at Cambridge or anywhere else she might go.
Family is really important to me. I grew up with my parents and my brother, and we'd always spend quite a lot of time together. When I decided to move out of the family home, I actually decided to stay quite local. I've got a lot of friends that I've grown up with, but I also attend a church. I play drums, and I'm also quite involved in the youth groups as well that we run. So it's one of those where I could just really give back to the community here, and it just felt like the best place for me to be. I remember in like year 1 and year 2 saying that I wanted to be a mathematician, and then I think when I got to secondary school and then decided to go for the engineering route.
So,
that was
you
more
like the
fun.
applied maths, where you apply it to something useful?
Yeah. Like smashing cars. When I come in to get the Gaydon Jaguar Land Rover site in the morning, it's really important that we go through all the footage and data from the vehicles that we've tested. When I'm told that there's a vehicle ready for testing, I will take this vehicle and I'll get it prepped in the workshop. It will then be sent to the test house. Once they have completed the test work, it will then be my responsibility to go and analyse the vehicle itself, but then also all the data that is provided from the test house. This data will then go to help form the test report, which is what we then file to show that we are compliant and that we can legally sell our vehicles globally.
I'm really excited to come back to Merrill School to be able to talk to the girls about opportunities within engineering. I think it's really important to share knowledge that you have and experiences that you have. I like trying to pass this on to the next generation. I think it's really important that they can learn as much as they possibly can from everyone.
Absolutely brilliant asset within the team. She's been given one of the model year programs. It's a major model year activity. You would think she's one of the full members of staff within the team, so that speaks volumes for her.
I find it really exciting when I see a Jaguar Land Rover product driving on the road, and it's really nice to just think that actually I've had a part of that, and it might be a small part, but actually in the grand scheme of things I've had a part in that car, and that is what's driving on the road now.
Brilliant, wonderful. Wow. Truly, truly inspiring stuff. And I think, you know, just one more time, I think all of our finalists deserve a huge round of applause, please. Thank you. Okay, what should we do now? Oh, let's give out some awards. Okay, the first award of the night is the Mary George Memorial Prize for Apprentices. Now, the Mary George Memorial Prize for Apprentices was inaugurated in 1985 and is awarded to an outstanding female engineer apprentice who has made a significant contribution within the workplace and demonstrated innovation in her approach to the solution of engineering problems. I am delighted to announce that the 2016 Mary George Memorial Prize goes to Gemma Dalziel. Congratulations. Here's your award. It's a quick photograph. How do you feel?
Oh, fantastic.
Were you expecting any kind of inkling at all that you were going to win?
None at all, no.
So what's the first thing you're going to do when you get out of here now to celebrate?
I couldn't even think right now.
Brilliant. Well, congratulations again. A huge round of applause. Congratulations. Gaffer tape. Excellent, that'll stop that rolling off. Okay, now for the Women's Engineering Society Prize, or WES Prize, as some of you may know it. Now, this prize is very kindly donated by the Women's Engineering Society, with whom the IET has a long-standing and incredibly close working relationship. Well, the prize is awarded to a young female engineer who was able to engage and inspire young people's involvement in science, technology, engineering and mathematics. Ladies and gentlemen, the winner of the 2016 WES Award is Bethan Murray!
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Congratulations. Quick photograph. Let me get the microphone. So, Bethan, how do you feel?
I'm really, really chuffed. Thank you very much.
And what are you going to do to celebrate when you finish tonight?
Probably go for a drink with my mum and dad.
Where are you going to put that, by the way?
Hopefully in my mum's handbag.
I didn't mean while you were out drinking. When you get to the office, where are you going to put it?
It's going to go on my mantelpiece, of course.
Wonderful. Right over your desk.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Congratulations, Bethan. Thank you so much. Thank you. And the last gold envelope of the night, we come to the main award. The winning candidate revealed an in-depth understanding of why the industry needs more women in STEM, where the issues lie, and what steps can be taken to help address them. She is very well established and passionate, a STEM ambassador, and actively promotes positive examples to encourage young women to enter engineering careers, in addition to applying the belief of equal opportunities. We are delighted to name her our Young Woman Engineer of the Year for 2016. Ladies and this one's stuck closed. Ladies and gentlemen, the award goes to Jenni Sidey. Congratulations. It's your award. So I come to photos. Let me grab mine. Jenni, how does that feel?
I feel very proud and honored and excited. Thank you.
Now you saw obviously last year's winners, sort of like the tour of duty that's going to happen. What do you think is going to be the #1 sort of mission that you want to go on this year?
Gosh, I have big footsteps to follow in for a busy year, but I guess the big thing I want to do is probably share the fact that engineering can be diverse, and that if young girls want to study engineering or women want to choose an academic or an industrial path, there are role models for them to look to. So hopefully I can provide one for them.
And it strikes me as well when I speak to young girls, they very often don't understand what engineering is, right? So the more young women that they can see out there doing really interesting jobs, you can go out there and tell them what engineering is actually about, and it's not, just sort of getting oily with a monkey wrench underneath a car.
Exactly, it's so diverse, right? So if I can help to inform and inspire and just spread the word, I'll be very happy.
And after you've been out for a drink and taken that out of your mum's handbag tomorrow morning, where are you going to put it?
This will go in my my new office as a lecturer in the engineering department, and hopefully students will see it and be inspired.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much. I'm sure you'll agree, a hugely deserving winner. Big hand for Jenni. Thank you so much. Thank you. Of course, nobody goes home empty-handed. I'd like to ask our other two inspiring female finalists, Nadia Johnson and Emma Wilding, to come up on stage to collect their achievement certificates and have a quick photograph as well. Come on, both of you. Which one's which? Emma? Nadia, congratulations, both of you. Quick photograph. Brilliant. Wonderful. Well, we also know that some of the women who were shortlisted and interviewed for the awards are here tonight, and I love that they've waited, but I would love it if you would wait behind at the end of the evening when everyone else goes up there for a drink. If everybody who was sort of like, in that final shortlist round, if you could come up onto the stage and we'll have some additional photographs, so don't go anywhere, you guys. Well, that's it. I realise that the only thing standing between you and another glass of Prosecco is me and one more talk. So I'll keep it fairly brief. Huge congratulations to all of our finalists and to our winners. I wished you the very best indeed for the future. I wonder if Hedy Lamarr realised 75 years ago when she was trying to figure out how to make a guidance system for missiles that couldn't be jammed, if she realised that what she was actually doing was building the backbone of what we use as the global communications network today. It just takes one moment of madness, one idea, and every single one of you in the room here tonight, you could have a massive impact and change in the future just from that one crazy idea. So I'm incredibly proud to have been here in front of you to be part of the awards tonight. And to bring them to a close, I would like now to invite the IET Secretary and Chief Executive, the very fine Nigel Fine, to say a few words and formally close the ceremony. Thank you so much, everybody.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and what a fantastic evening we've had this evening. And as
one of the men in this room what an underachiever I'm feeling at this very moment in time. We've seen so many talented female engineers on this stage tonight, and that is why these awards are so very important. They do give us a chance to celebrate the incredible talent of the best young female engineers in the UK, and also to find new and much needed female role models who can show the next generation that engineering is an exciting, creative and rewarding career. So I'd like to take this opportunity to congratulate all of tonight's winners and those who were shortlisted. Let's give them all another round of applause, shall we? Now, getting this far really is a great achievement, as there was such really stiff competition this year, so very well done to all of you. And let's say a very big thank you to Kate for hosting such a great, hosting these events tonight and doing such a great job at these awards. Kate, thank you very much indeed. Now, next year, we'll be celebrating the 40th anniversary of the Young Woman Engineer of the Year Awards. Back in 1977, these awards were conceived to address the shortage of women in engineering. And 40 years on, there is still a shortage of women working in engineering, so there is still much work to do. But of course, recognising their achievements will find new female role models, which is so very important. Many of our amazing winners from over the years will be joining our celebrations next year, and we're already planning a series of exciting initiatives to mark the anniversary, building the success on our 9% is not enough campaign this year. It came off my hand, there we go. Which you are all aware of, and you're all going to go out and tweet, and we're really going to get the social media buzzing over the next 24 hours. So please do tweet these pictures. So as the momentum builds, I'd like to close with a very short video which showcases some of the previous inspirational award winners from over the years and find out why they find engineering so very exciting.
Growing up, I was inspired by engineering marvels such as the Princess flying boat and the hovercraft. They epitomise elegance, grace and practical application.
There were too many judgments made about me not really being academic and really being a dropout. What I did enjoy about the apprenticeship was that you do actually get fantastic academic qualifications. The most exciting things really were understanding how things work, really understanding what electrical engineering was about. I hope that my story is inspiring, because if I hadn't have took engineering, then I wouldn't have had the success in my life.
When I was doing my GCSEs, I didn't really know what I wanted to do as a career. But at the time, in the news was the Beagle 2 mission, Europe's first mission to Mars. And I saw that British engineers and scientists were working on this and thought, well, if that's engineering, then engineering sounds pretty cool.
We are 9% of the UK's engineering workforce. How do we get our voice heard?
I'm sure many of you recognise Michelle Richmond, who is Director of Membership and Professional Development at the IET, and very well known to many of you here today. So I'm already looking forward to next year already, and it should prove to be a very exciting year with the 40th anniversary. So what I'd like you to do now is to continue to enjoy the rest of the evening by joining us for drinks, and we will get to that bubbly very shortly, and food upstairs in the Riverside room to celebrate and enjoy tonight's Young Woman Engineer of the Year. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much indeed. Enjoy the rest of the evening. Thank you.